Narcissists rely on one unshakable assumption about INFJs, that you'll always doubt yourself before doubting them. What happens when you prove them wrong? First, we'll uncover how they trap you. Then, the exact moment you stop playing their role. And, finally, what begins to rebuild inside you afterward. To understand how it all starts, we need to examine why they target you in the first place. By the end of this video, you'll understand the inner shift that turns self-doubt into clarity and prepare yourself with tools to set proper boundaries. Before we start, please hit the like button, comment, and subscribe so you won't miss any of our weekly deep dives into the world of personality types. And if you are looking to achieve a deeper understanding of yourself and your personality type, click the link in the comments to take our favorite free personality test. The magnetic trap. The magnetic trap begins when what makes you exceptional becomes the very thing that exposes you. Narcissists are drawn to INFJs not by chance, but because your empathy creates an open doorway they know how to step through. Mirroring is their first tool. They reflect a mirror of your deepest values, your need for depth, intensity, and genuine emotional connection. For a moment, it feels like being recognized in a way few people can manage, but it's performance, not presence, and it's crafted to pull you in. Researchers describe this trap in 3 phases. The first is idealization, where they mirror your best traits so flawlessly that it feels like destiny. The second is gradual erosion, also called devaluation, where criticism hides inside carefully wrapped concern. The third is hot and cold withdrawal or escalation, a cycle of sudden warmth and sudden distance designed to keep you chasing the bond you thought was real. Your natural curiosity makes this more powerful. When their words contradict their actions or when what they say feels off, your instinct isn't to reject, it's to understand. You keep reaching for the reason beneath their behavior, and with each attempt, the trap tightens. The longer you try to solve their contradictions, the more their control grows. Typical boundary advice fails many INFJs because you are wired to prioritize potential in others. You often override your own discomfort with thoughts like, what if they change? Or, maybe I'm overreacting. Narcissists sense this hesitation and use it as leverage, reframing your compassion as weakness. They weaponize your ability to see the best in people, turning every boundary into what feels like a failure of empathy. The turning point comes when you shift attention away from their motives and back to your own responses. Instead of wondering what's wrong with them, you start noticing the tightness in your chest, the weight in your body, the exhaustion after every encounter. Your nervous system tells the truth before your thoughts can catch up. The moment you stop asking how to fix them and start noticing how it hurts is when everything begins to change. The turning point. The turning point comes not with a dramatic showdown, but with a quiet act of defiance. Change arrives the moment you no longer perform on cue. Your body shows it first. Your breath grows steadier, your shoulders ease, the knot in your stomach loosens. Those cues signal that you've stepped out of their script. And that's when the dynamic begins to shift. INFJs hold a unique strength here. While others may lash out when pressed, you move into something sharper and more unsettling to a narcissist, a clear, grounded presence. It isn't about raising your voice. It's about no longer rehearsing the role they wrote for you. Nothing unravels them faster than your calm refusal to play along. Notice the difference between reactive confrontation and what we'll call strategic silence. Reactive confrontation appears as shouting back, defending yourself line by line, or fueling their drama. But strategic silence lives in your behavior. It's answering a guilt-tripping text with, "I hear you," and nothing more. It's letting a cruel joke hang in the air without forced laughter. These choices aren't passive, they're active refusals to provide fuel. Psychologically, narcissists depend on your emotions to keep their story alive. If you withhold the reaction they expect, the script collapses. That rupture forces them into disarray because it threatens the ego scaffolding that relies on you as an audience. Without emotional supply, they scramble, testing new tactics, masking their panic, or rushing back with sudden affection. It's not random. It's the collapse of a system that requires your participation to survive. If you're curious which INFJ strategies fit you best, click the link in the comments to take our favorite free personality test. Here's the more profound truth. This turning point is less about defeating them and more about facing your own fears. The fears of being too much, of losing connection, of trusting your intuition when it points to painful truths. Each time you hold steady without collapsing, you prove to yourself that you can endure being fully seen. And most of the time, it doesn't unfold in big speeches. It shows in small, ordinary moments, when you don't rise to bait, when your face stays neutral, when you choose stillness over performance. That quiet shift is power in its purest form, and it prepares you for what comes immediately after. Reactions that will reveal far more than any confrontation ever could. The aftermath effect. The aftermath effect begins the moment you hold your ground. When that happens, narcissists commonly cycle through 3 recognizable phases. The first is the charm offensive. Suddenly, they appear to become the person you once hoped they were. This isn't a transformation, it's bait. The second is the tantrum stage, where they escalate, provoking anger, tears, or guilt to pull you back into orbit. The third is withdrawal or discard. Sometimes it's a cold distance, other times it's an abrupt cutting off. But research shows that these responses often follow once their tactics no longer work. Each phase isn't a failure on your part. It's confirmation that your boundaries are taking root. Their overcorrection exposes the machinery of manipulation, and that pattern is what retrains your intuition to spot red flags earlier. Notice how the one who once mocked you as too sensitive suddenly becomes hypersensitive to your calm indifference. Or how the person who claimed to hate drama now manufactures it at full volume. These shifts are revealing. They show what the act was always covering. Many INFJs also describe a new form of sight during this stage. Faces you've known for years register differently. You see the smug smirk when someone else is hurt, or the flat stare when praise isn't returned. It feels like putting on emotional glasses and finally noticing expressions you used to explain away. In the quiet that follows, many INFJs report surprising changes. More profound sleep, fewer headaches, moments where decision-making feels clear again. Research notes that recovery isn't linear, but these cues are signs that your nervous system is recalibrating to trust itself. The silence they leave behind is not empty. It creates space where your intuition comes back online. What unsettles narcissists most surfaces here. It isn't your anger, but your indifference. Not your need for them, but your ability to walk away. Their greatest fear has always been your self-possession, and every step you take toward it makes that fear visible. This phase is messy and nonlinear, but each cycle of distance shows you more about your own strength. The more you honor what you see and feel, the more something profound begins to unfold. Not just the end of a toxic pattern, but the start of an entirely different way of being. The INFJ rebirth. The INFJ rebirth begins when the energy you once gave away finally turns back towards you. This isn't about creating a new self, it's about reclaiming functions that were always yours, now free to operate at full strength. Your intuition sharpens, allowing you to spot patterns before they spiral out of control. Your empathy shifts, no longer absorbing every mood, but reaching outward with clarity. And your sensing wakes up, alerting you through your body, like noticing tight shoulders the moment someone crosses a line. 3 small shifts, but together they redraw your entire inner landscape. With that shift, many INFJs report a surge of creative expression. Old projects return with new insight, or familiar challenges suddenly have fresh solutions. This isn't random. It's the very energy you once spent managing someone else's chaos, now flowing back into your work, your art, your problem solving. You also begin testing new boundaries. Research highlights simple phrasing as the starting point, like, "You can't talk to me this way. I won't be in your presence if you do this." Early sentences like that may feel shaky at first, but each one creates a reference point for your nervous system to trust in its own limits. Your relationship to empathy changes too. Instead of soaking up pain until you're drained, you learn to observe it at one step of remove, like light passing through colored glass. The colors still move you, but they no longer blur your whole world. That's how compassion deepens without erasing you. Anger also takes on a different shape. It stops being a threat and becomes information, a reminder that you're being asked to betray yourself. Listening to that signal doesn't make you harsher. It makes you steadier, more patient, more honest. The background research also emphasizes self-forgiveness. Forgive yourself for the choices you made while simply trying to protect yourself, and then commit to building boundaries that serve who you are now. That balance of acceptance and change is the heart of the rebirth. The paradox is that this growth makes you both broader in compassion and sharper in discernment. You see humans struggle without judgment, but you no longer confuse compassion with a lack of judgment. And that shift prepares you for the clearest insight of all, what the entire encounter was always reflecting to you. In conclusion, this journey leaves you with 3 clear takeaways. You stop performing for someone else and reclaim your boundary. They respond in predictable cycles, and each reaction teaches you what's real. Then you begin to rebuild from within, with intuition, empathy, and strength aligned. Now your boundaries work like second nature. Your intuition warns you early, and the people who remain in your life respect the space between you. Comment below with the single most surprising thing you noticed about your own INFJ response to manipulation. If you want to continue the journey to understanding yourself or an INFJ in your life, click either of the following videos where we continue to unlock the secrets of the INFJ personality type.